In relation to leaks from the Cabinet, it's your department that kind of oversees the investigation, make sure no leaks are taking place. So I raised with you the last year's estimates, the leak of the mother and baby home report, very, very insensitive. It caused a lot of hurt and pain at that time. An investigation was ongoing last year. Can you update the committee? Is that investigation concluded? And have you identified the culprit?
No, that process is still ongoing. It hasn't concluded.
So how long has it going on now, Taoiseach?
I don't have the exact. It's probably going on a good 12 months.
Yeah,
I have to check that.
Yeah, and so what happens? Like, you know, like we've seen the report into Champagne Gate there. You know, with Minister Coveney, it's turned around within a couple of weeks. All the staff will have been interviewed. Has all your cabinet colleagues been interviewed by the General Secretary at this stage?
I haven't interfered with the conduct of this or the manner in which the Secretary General or the senior official in the department that's approaching this, but it's also dealing with the management of documents for government meetings and the protection of that confidentiality. But my understanding is that the process is not completed. But that obviously we would endeavour to bring that to a conclusion.
Okay, but when I raised this last year, you said you would look into it, and you know, yeah, obviously, but no. In fairness, yeah. Like, how long's a piece of string? Like, it appears that nothing's happening here. Like, there's only so many people in the cabinet. There's only so many people that would have had access to that report. Are you telling me that the general, like, this was a hurtful thing that happened to those victims? It shouldn't be taking 1.5 years to conclude an investigation into this. Like, you know, have you asked for an update from your General Secretary in relation to how this is going?
Well, I haven't, as I said, interfered with the Secretary General in relation to this, and I think there's been in relation to the broader issue and this issue, which was an issue, of course, of concern, and we have focused as a government on dealing with the substantive issues around the Commission of Investigation into mother and baby homes. And we moved at pace in terms of both the payments scheme that has been introduced, the information and tracing bill. We're now going to move forward on the proper memorialisation record and national centre. And of course the institution's burials bill as well. So there's been an awful lot done in the last 12 months in relation. I just want to make the point in relation to the Commission's recommendations itself, because I think this will turn out to be an unprecedented time in terms of actually delivery on issues that have been unfortunately around for a long, long time, and which previous Oireachtas couldn't deal with. Legal advice was that we couldn't. In terms of the investigation that's been undertaken, it's not completed. It hasn't concluded. I appreciate the points you're making, but that's the position.
But it appears that there is no investigation. It appears that there was an announcement of investigation because what happened was completely and utterly wrong and hurt a lot of victims at that time. Like, we're dealing with the estimates here. If the General Secretary has spent a part of his time over the last 1.5 years investigating this matter, there is a cost. There is a cost. Just as we were putting in if we put in an FOI looking for documentation, they'll tell us it costs €300 that we have to pay because so many persons' hours. So can you inform this committee as part of the estimates, how many man hours, how many work hours has the General Secretary put into this investigation, and how many people and documents were scanned as the output, which is part of the estimates process as well, has happened over the last 1.5 year?
I can't give that information here because
I'm asking. Will you supply the information to the committee?
Well, I'll talk to. Well, again, I'm awaiting the conclusion of it, and I think once this is concluded, we'll deal with it.
Taoiseach, we're all waiting for the last 1.5 years.
Yeah, but I'm not in the position to...
What we're asking for is, as part of the estimates and as part of the outputs, I'm not looking for identification of names, but the work hours that has been put into this and the number of people... But
to be fair now, Deputy, like, the public officials put a lot of work into a lot of issues. The broad estimate covers the man hours and the work that people put in on a whole range of issues.
But it appears that there is no investigation.
No, I wouldn't accept that.
So, do you know of any one person that has been questioned?
Well, I haven't involved myself in the investigation.
So, how do you know that there's no investigation?
Well, I mean, how do you know there isn't?
Because it's gone on 1.5 years and we haven't heard anything, and there's only so many people that can be either questioned or so many documents that can be looked at.
Thanks, Secretary. You'll ask you to conclude. I move now to Deputy Tobin.